Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. I'm sorry I haven't uploaded for a while. Again, I've just been busy with work and trying to plan out some other cool things which are coming to the channel soon. So definitely stay tuned. But today's video, we're going to be going in a little bit different direction. We're not going to be anything car related today. For anybody who's been watching the channel wondering where the kitchen aspect of things are coming from, well, today we're finally going to get into our first food video. About a month ago, my friend came to me and said he had found some kit for doing at-home dry aging for meats. So we decided to tackle it together and see what we could come up with. So we've just been to the store. We just grabbed the basic sirloin roast here. I'll show it to you guys better once we actually are in the kitchen. But we just got that, not very expensive. And yeah, like I said, we're just gonna head back to the house now. I'll take you guys through the entire process. This is something you can do at home, so you don't need to be a professional chef or have a whole professional kitchen. You can do this from the comfort of your own home. The whole process for the aging takes about 30 days, so I'll try to film the different intervals of the whole process. But once we get back home and into our kitchen, I'll show you guys how to get started, what you need to do to start the process of, how to get it going, and we'll go from there. So I will see you guys in just a few minutes. Okay guys, so now we're back home, we're back in the kitchen. I have on the counter here behind me the entire kit laid out. So I'm going to go over that and a couple things that you want to make note of before you start this whole process. So let's just take a look at the kit here quickly. It's pretty simple. It comes in just one nice little convenient package. And you have your vacuum sealer. And what kind of sets this kit apart is the special membranes that this company makes. This whole kit is, as you can see here, it's called Dry Bag Steak, and it's made by a company called Umai Dry, spelled U-M-A-I. I'll leave a link in the description below for anybody who wants to check it out. But, so like I said, in the kit, you have your vacuum sealer, and you have these special membranes, which they make, which is what you put the meat in, and it's going to seal it all together. And one thing to note is the kind of meat that you're going to be doing. Now, they recommend something like a ribeye, boneless, New York strip, whatever, but one thing you want to make sure is whatever cut of meat you get, we have a sirloin tip roast here. You want to make sure that whatever kind of meat you get, it is a whole piece. You don't want to use ground meat or anything that's been pre-sliced, because the entire surface of the meat needs to be in contact with these membrane bags for the aging process to work properly. If you get something ground, obviously it could be uneven, and even with sliced stuff, if the vacuum seal is kind of different on each one, each piece is going to be different. So to make sure that you have a consistent aging process, you want to have a whole piece. Now they recommend getting something with a nice fat cap on top. Our piece doesn't have it here, but you can always compensate something with that by just putting some butter or some kind of other fat in the bag during the aging process. And one more quick thing to note, guys, when you are selecting your cut of meat, you have to factor in about 8 to 12% loss from the dry aging process when you're buying. So you want to buy something that's it's a little bit bigger, more weight, because you are going to lose some weight and some size to it. So that's just one more thing to note when going out and buying your meats. Okay guys, so now we're set up, we're all ready to go. We have our meat ready to go. Our vacuum sealer is plugged in. We've made sure it works. So it's a really simple process. It's only, I think, about a 6-step process. So step one, obviously you want to make sure your machine's plugged in, on, and working. And then, as I mentioned, these are your bags that you put the actual meat into. So the meat goes in the bag. This is what you seal it in. And the company provides these special seal aids. So what you want to do is it's a whole strip. You want to take it, you want to cut it down to size for the bag that you're going to be using. And then it goes in at almost near the top. You want to leave a little bit of a space because you're going to actually double seal this bag. So this is what you do for the vacuum seal, and then on top of that you want to put a secondary safety seal just to make sure no air leaks out. As we go on in the process, I'll talk about that more, but this helps in the vacuum seal makes it stick together and helps suck the air out. And then then your machine. So what you want to do for this machine in particular, there's two modes. You can either just seal something, or you can use the vacuum seal. Now to just seal it, you just want to close it down, lock it down, and it's going to seal as soon as it recognizes the bag. But for the vacuum seal, there's this little tab here that you want to make sure you line up the opening of the bag. You won't be able to see it on camera, but there's a very little slit here where it's going to suck the air out of the bag. So for our purposes, for the vacuum seal, you're gonna push this. We're gonna line the bag up, push this tab all the way in until it locks, and then that's gonna suck out all the air out of the bag. And then once that happens, it's gonna retract in, and then the seal is gonna happen to make it nice and even. Okay, guys. So if you're doing this at home, I'd recommend putting on a glove just so you don't have to wash your hands over and over again during the process. So, as I said, step one, you want to take your meat. Now, one thing to note, in this case, I don't know if you can see, but it already comes pre-tied from the butcher shop. I'm going to leave it on there just because the reason you tie your meat is to keep it at a uniform shape. And obviously when we dry age it, we don't want it to shrink too much. We want it to stay uniform. So for this purposes, I'm going to leave the ties on. So we're going to put it in the bag. You want to make sure you get it all the way down into the bag so you can leave enough of a gap at the top here. You want to make sure you leave enough of a gap at the top, like I said, so you can do the double seal, the initial vacuum seal, and then the secondary safety seal, just to make sure no air escapes in the bag. So as you can see, our piece of meat is a lot smaller than the actual bag, but like I said, to make sure all the air comes out and you get the double seal, you want to leave lots of room at the top. So now that we have the meat in the bag, we're going to cut our strip to size. I think we're going to only cut it about an inch off. Like I said, you don't need the whole strip for the whole bag. So simply cut that. Does it have a backing? No, it doesn't. And then all you do is take your cut strip, put it right into the top of the bag. Okay, so I can see. Okay, so I don't know how. Hopefully you guys can see this all right. So you see, I have my vacuum seal part here, and then I have about a couple inches of space up above where I can put my secondary safety seal. Okay, guys. So now that we have everything in the bag as I described, you can see my friend here is just lining up. So this little metal piece in this button, that's the vacuum seal. So it's inside the bag and it's directly over that strip that we cut. So, let me have a second. Right. So you guys can see, so it goes in there. Our strip is right under that. So that's going to help suck all the air out. So, okay, so now that everything's lined up.
Okay, so your help here a little bit.
Yeah. So it's okay if you have a little bit of overhang, that's okay. As I said, we're going to do that secondary seal on there anyways. So once you have everything lined up, you want to close the bag down. Now, once you turn the machine on, as soon as you lock it, it's going to start the process automatically. So you want to lock it down and then turn it on. Okay, and then you can see the vacuum is going. So it takes a couple of seconds to vacuum.
Then massage it so that all the air pockets are out.
Yeah, you want to give it a massage, help all the air to come out as much as possible. Okay guys, so we vacuumed the air. I've shut the machine off just for a minute, just so I'm not shouting over it. So I mentioned that the vacuum goes automatically, but in order to actually seal the bag, you need to push down this bar. So in a minute here, I'm going to turn it back on. You'll see the green light on here is for a vacuum, and the seal button, the seal light turns up red. So in a minute here, or just a couple seconds here, we're going to turn the machine back on, and I'm going to push the seal button to do my initial seal from the vacuum. And then we're going to make sure everything's good, line it back up about an inch or two above the vacuum seal line, and do that secondary seal just in case the first seal breaks. Then we know that the air is not going to all rush out and our product is going to go bad during the aging process. So power back on, and you only want to give it a couple seconds to seal. There. So you're going to hear that beep, and you're going to see the vacuum seal button go back, and at this point you can just go ahead and open up your machine. Now let the seal sit for a couple of seconds because it is a heat seal, so you want to let it cool and solidify, make sure the seal holds. Okay, so as you can see here, attempt number 1 didn't go so well, but that's okay.
We'll do it again.
Yeah. Like anything, guys, this is our first time doing this, so if you guys don't get it done the first time, don't worry. The bag is still good. You can just go ahead and try it again. Okay, so quick side note, guys. We've been trying to troubleshoot this for a little bit. Our problem is that the bag that they give you for this machine, the corners, show you guys here. So the actual bag itself is wider than where the corners seal. So the problem is when we're closing it to seal it, the middle bit is fine, but then the corners aren't sealing. So as soon as you take it off the machine, all the air comes out. So if you watch the video on the company's website, what they show and they recommend is to do a corner seal. So you want to seal up at least one corner first, so that when you put the bag in later, you can actually know that the entire bag is going to fit and create an even seal. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do now. We're going to do the corner seal. So we're going to seal the corner first, suck all the air out, and then we're going to reposition it and then seal all the rest of it from that corner all the way over.
Okay, so maybe 6. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, so again, push and hold for a couple of seconds, and then lift it up, and then it's a key step at this point to make sure that your corner seal is holding. So just go gently pry the bag back as long as both sides don't come apart in your fingers. You know you're good. So at this point, now that we know one corner is sealed, we can go ahead with the rest of the process of vacuuming all the air out and then going ahead and sealing the rest of the bag for a nice tight seal.
Okay.
Okay guys, so once again, once you're happy with the vacuum seal, make sure there's a tight seal around the actual piece of meat. And then you can go ahead and push the seal button to lock in.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Once again, push and hold when you hear the beep. Give it another second or two, and release. And then once again, give it a minute for the seal to cool and adhere, bond properly. Open your machine up. Carefully lift up the bag and check your seal.
Looks like we did it this time.
Okay guys, so I think we've finally gotten it. I'll do one more quick double check. But so, just to go over that once again. So, corners, meat vertically in the bag. Seal the corner where the meat is going to sit. And then you want to go ahead, reposition it. Put your vacuum seal in. Make sure all the air is nice and tight and vacuum sealed. Vacuumed around the product. And then go ahead and seal the rest of the bag from that point.
So double seal.
And then once again, once you have the initial seal done, you want to reposition the bag and put a secondary seal just so that in case if one of them are to break in the 30-day aging process, the air does not escape out.
1, 2, 3.
Okay guys, so there we go. Now we have a nice sealed piece of meat. In a minute here, we'll go on to the next steps on how to properly store it inside your fridge. Okay guys, so now that we've finally sorted out all of our issues and actually gotten our meat product sealed, the next step is proper storage so that the aging process can happen. Now you can put this in your regular fridge at home, but you want to make sure that your fridge is as cool as possible. You don't want to be too cold because you don't want everything else in your fridge to obviously spoil or freeze, but you want it to be cool enough that the meat stays cold for the whole process. It's summertime here now in Toronto, so it's warm outside, so you want to make sure that wherever your meat product is at a consistent cool temperature. And for this, as you can see in our fridge here, in our temperature gauge, is sitting at 2 degrees Celsius. You want your fridge realistically to be anywhere between 2 and 4 degrees Celsius. That allows a very cool environment for your meat to age, and it's also cool enough that everything else in your fridge won't spoil or freeze altogether. And one more tip is that when you put it in your fridge, you want to have some kind of a rack to kind of elevate the product, because you don't want it sitting flat on the shelf. You want air to be able to get around the whole bag the whole time. You don't want any one part of it to sit in case you don't look at it for a couple days, don't want to have to worry about flipping it. So make sure you do put it on some kind of rack, or alternatively, if you have space, you could always hang it from the fridge so that you know you have full 360 air coverage. Okay, so that's that simple, guys. Once you have the rack in there where it's going to go, you're going to put your meat on top of it. And then in 30 days from now, we're going to come back and we're going to cook some delicious steaks. So now, as often as I can, guys, I'll try to give you updates on how it's going, whether I come here or maybe I'll get my friend just to send me pictures. So yeah, I'll try to get you some kind of progress pics over the whole 30 days, just for what it looks like from kind of the freshly bought state till the 30-day aged state. And then obviously, once those 30 days are up, we're going to take it out of the bag, we're going to cut it, season it, put it on the grill, and I'm going to show you guys how to make some delicious steaks at that point. Okay guys, so just to give you a quick recap of everything we just did. So step one is choosing the right kind of meat. You want to have full roast, as I mentioned in the beginning. You don't want to use ground meat or anything that's been pre-sliced, because you want a consistent and even aging process. If you can get a piece of meat that has a nice fat cap on top of it, that's only going to help impart flavor into it, but it's not 100% necessary. Step two is making sure you have everything in your kit, the bags, the machine, make sure your machine's plugged in and working properly. And then step three is you want to put your meat into the bag. We found out that putting it vertically in the bag works the best, because it allows for the most amount of air to be sucked out of the bag later. Step four is that you want to do your corner seal first. So again, as I said, the side of the bag that your meat is on, you want to seal up that corner first, because I'm not sure about you guys, but with our machine, it's not quite long enough for the bag, so the corners weren't sealing. So corner seal, vacuum out all the air, seal the rest of the bag. And then step five is make sure you have a clear space in the fridge, make sure your fridge is the right temperature, and you want to have a rack under it so you get full air coverage. So as always, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. As I said, I'll try to have progress pics. I'll leave links in the description below to the company that we use for this process, and maybe some other ones that you guys can check out. So as always, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe to the channel, browse it for more content, and stay tuned, because I have more fun stuff coming up very soon. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.